Welcome to You Decide. I'm your host, Errol Lewis. There's a great new book out. It is called And Then Came the Blues, and it is published by Akashic Books, the Brooklyn-based publisher. It is a powerful memoir of a woman named Katrina Brownlee you're going to meet in a minute. She has a harrowing but ultimately inspiring story. You're going to hear all about it. Here's the highlights. She was shot 10 times. She survived that and went on to join the NYPD and really rose through the ranks and became a high-ranking officer. She is now helping young women through an organization. You're going to hear about that. She joins us now to tell us about her life story, which she chose to write about in this book. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I met you when you were on Mayor de Blasio's protective detail. These are the people the bodyguards for the mayor and his family.
Yes.
And you would show up here, I don't know how often. He came on every week. You wouldn't come with him every week, but I certainly saw you here a lot to make sure everything was safe and so forth. I did not realize you were the first Black woman ever to serve on the mayor's protective detail.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of late in the game. 2014. I mean, the NYPD has been around for a couple hundred years at this point.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. I mean, it really was an eye opener for me, and I, in part because sometimes I feel like I know something about the NYPD. Mm-hmm. My sister was a detective. Oh, you
right.
remind
That's
me of
right.
my older
That's
sister,
right.
Pam, right? My dad was on the job for 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I have uncles and nephews and cousins and all kinds of people who've been on the job. And friends and neighbors.
Right.
And I don't know, it had never occurred to me that you were actually making history every time you showed up here.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for that opportunity.
And it's in your book, you talk about how they actually had to create quarters for you at Gracie Mansion. Part of the protective detail, there's always somebody there at Gracie Mansion. In fact, Mayor de Blasio told me that once. He said, I don't know when they're changing shifts, so there's always like strangers in your house, and you don't really know. But you for a while had to commute because they didn't have a place there for women.
Yeah, and I never kind of really stayed there because it never was set up that way. It was years later that I was on the detail because I was with him from the very beginning. So I spent 8 years with him. So it wasn't until a female captain had came, which was in the second term, and she made a issue about it. So for it was many years, we didn't have a place.
Being a bodyguard for the mayor and his family members, is that harder? Is there more pressure than some of the other things you've done, like being, undercover, facilitating drug busts and basically putting your life in danger? Is it different? Is it more exciting? Is there more pressure because basically you're working for the mayor?
I think it was more pressure because you're actually working for the mayor, right? So you can't have a crumb on your face, right? You can't, everything has to just be, on point. Suit has to make sure it's nice and neat, hair done, So that was the good part because I didn't have any issues with that because
That was kind of how you like to roll anyway.
Yeah, right. So that part wasn't hard, but you always have to be on point. And that's fine. You're in a professional setting and you want to be able to carry yourself as such, right? So it's different, being an undercover, you're in character, you're an actor, right? So you are acting out a role. So it's totally different. Me, I'm Katrina when I'm with de Blasio, right? And then as the undercover, I was Fantasia.
Right. You had a whole persona.
Yeah.
So now it's tempting but it's a little too simple to describe you as having kind of a story with a Hollywood ending because there's a lot that people need to know. And I highly recommend people read this. If there are these coming of age books like Brown Girl, Brown Stones. There's a book, it was a big deal when I was growing up called Man-Child in the Promised Land. And it was about a guy who came up the hard way, in Harlem. Over and over as I was reading your story, I kept thinking about the expression, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about.
That's right.
And you had a really, really tough childhood. Although the way you tell it in the book, you didn't really know that it was that.
Correct. I thought, I just assumed that that's just how life was and how everybody's life was. It wasn't until I gotten older and realized this is not normal.
Right.
Once I got into therapy, I really began to understand that this was not how a child should have been raised. And I believe that through me writing this memoir, a lot of healing came, a lot of eye-openers, a lot of aha moments for me. It just was a lot for me to be able to read it back to myself, if I should say, if that would make sense.
Yes.
And say, whoa, hey, you did that. But it was by the grace of God.
Well, it's really helpful for me as somebody who's trying to tell the story of a lot of people's lives in New York. You know, as journalists, this is what we try and do. And sometimes I think we fall into the trap of saying, well, there's people living in public housing, or, oh, there's people of lower income. Oh, there's people where, you know, they're raised by single mothers, or there's teen mothers and so forth. And all those things are true in your case. But you portray it and you describe it in a way that brings to life the chaos that's going on, right? I mean, all of the adults in your early life are basically chaotic, and you write about them with great compassion, and they are who they are. Right. But one of them is sexually abusing you, you know, and your mother has her own trauma that spills over into you. The father is gone. The grandmother does the best she can, but she's falling into alcoholism. And, you know, at one point you say this kind of chaotic house that everybody's living in gets lost in a gambling debt, and everybody has to try and scramble and put their lives back together again, and on and on and on. And this is just life, right up until the point where you drop out of high school, which nobody really tried to stop you from doing.
Right. And I was a teenage mother. I didn't have anyone to take care of my daughter. So I was forced to drop out of high school.
Yeah. I mean, and so the man you marry who ended up trying to murder you.
We never got married. We were engaged.
Engaged, true. Yes. He, you know, I mean, you seem in the book, you say, you know, you were upfront with him. It's like, I'm not that interested in you. but he was offering some what looked like safety and security. And this is somebody who worked for the correction department, who's apparently carrying around his own violent trauma. If he didn't have it before he went to work, he was bringing it home with him every day, it seems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And taking it out on you.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think as I was reading, I kept thinking, it's like, she's making wrong turns. She's going from one wrong turn to the next, right? And the way you describe it, it's sort of. I almost hear you saying, "Well, it seemed to make sense at the time, even though I knew it was going to be a mistake."
Yeah, it was like one wrong turn. It's like you know, like the GPS. And it doesn't have a signal, so you keep making the wrong turns and the wrong turns. And it just kept going and going. And it was like, when is it going to stop?
Yeah. And maybe one of the few people you encounter who actually knows Coram. I had a sister-in-law who lived out there for a while.
Oh, okay.
So the scene of this horrible crime. Actually, I know the little town, one of the working class towns out there in Long Island. And he literally tried to kill you, shot you, reloaded, and shot you some more.
He did.
And you're still carrying around some of those bullets.
6 of them, because they were only able to remove 4 of them.
Right. And what was it about that physical trauma that would have excluded you, jumping ahead a little bit, when you applied to the NYPD? Why was it important that they not know that you had encountered that? Because you could pass the physical exam.
No, I could pass the physical, which I did the physical. It's the medical that I wouldn't have passed.
Okay, yeah. Tell me about that. I had never really encountered that. There's a medical requirement.
Yeah, it's a medical requirement, a psychological requirement, physical requirement. And so I passed the medical, I passed the psychological, but now it's the medical where they have to physically look at the body. And in the book, I explained how I was able to bypass that.
Yeah, no, this was
and it
right.
was only the grace of God.
Right.
Because only the grace of God, because there's no way that, how would I be able to explain that?
Right.
And so that's why I just believe that for me, from a little girl, if I may say this, I was in so much pain. And even though I normalized it, I was still in a lot of pain because I didn't know that someone touching me was wrong. and it didn't feel right. So I would write in my diary all of what I was going through. And I kept this diary, and I had lost it and found it when I was grown. So I was able to take these stories and put them all together. And be able to create this story and to be able to tell the story.
Oh, that answers another one of my questions, because you sort of dropped towards the end, I've been keeping a journal, because you have all of these specific dates, and I'm thinking it's like, man, she was really keeping track of this stuff.
Right. We call it a journal now, but as a kid, it was a diary. And I lost it. I found it later on through moving. And that's how I was able to keep some of keep a lot of, be able to retain a lot of the information. One thing that comes across is your feeling for your community. Even with all of its flaws, you become the close girlfriend of a major, major drug dealer. But you see the fiancé for that too.
you see, the thing with the men, you're gonna, you have to talk about that with one of my colleagues. But you see the good, or I don't even know if good is the right word, but the positive side of people trying to hold together what they have.
Yes.
And trying to make sure that the society or the family or the neighborhood that they're in doesn't completely fall apart.
Correct.
And that seems to have been something that carried forward with you.
Yeah, I wanted family. I wanted it. I don't know what it feels like to have a mother. I don't know what it feels like to have a father. So I just always yearned for that. And I think that's probably what happened to me along the way, just trying to find someone just to love me, someone to care about me. And I think that's where that part come in at. Family is not just blood. Family is who you make family, right? And for me, at those particular times in the book, as you can see, that's what I was yearning for. That's what I was looking for.
Sure. And you ended up finding your way into the NYPD as a family.
Yeah.
And is that what drew you to it? Because it sounds like you did what a lot of civil servants do. You started at an agency where it looked pretty good and okay money and good benefits, and so you end up in the traffic department before you apply to the NYPD.
But the traffic thing just came by way of a letter, just happened to come to my house. And then me going into the police department, when that opportunity came, it wasn't even about money, because I think at that time when I got on the police department, we weren't even making, I don't even think we were making $30,000 at that time. It wasn't no money. And I'm coming from money, a lot of money.
The boyfriend's got, he can hand that to you on any given day, right? Yeah.
So it wasn't about that. It was like, okay, I want to be a good cop, right? Because I had this distrust for cops at this point. Did not like cops. And when I got the opportunity, I started, even when I was in traffic, I still felt the way because they weren't nice to traffic agents, right? So I got into the police department, and then when I got into it, it's a real family. Like that blue uniform is real, and they take it to heart. And I'm like, okay. So again, it's looking for family. Everywhere I went, that's what I'm looking for.
You do touch on something that is the flip side of even that family, where you talk about a friend who committed suicide and so forth. And we know suicide is a major, major problem in this and every other big city police department. And, it seems like what comes with that family, there's power, there's accountability, there's also uniformity. And then if you're not in line with everybody else, it kind of leaves you in a bad place.
Yeah, you're in a big bad place. Yeah. So you either get with it or you don't. And that world not getting with it, that's a very lonely place to be. Not only is it lonely, it's dark. because you're out there by yourself, and then you have this family that's all together. Whether they like each other or not, when you call on a brother or a sister in blue, everybody's coming as an army.
Right.
And so when you're not a part of that, that doesn't make you feel good.
And yet you were sort of the victim of that same mentality, right? When your fiancé, the corrections officer, is horribly, violently abusive to the point where you're calling the cops, not once, not twice, but a lot. And you recount in the book, every single time they pull him aside, he shows the badge, and they basically leave. I mean, that's
just how it was.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I want to tell you this story, is that when the story first was out 4 years ago, I got an anonymous call, which I had gotten a lot of anonymous calls from a lot of police officers. But I got this particular call, and the man said that he was a white officer, and he said he wasn't sure if he was one of the officers that had responded to me, because he did work in the 8-1 at that time, and that he was retired, either captain or inspector, and that he know that if it wasn't me, that he had done it before to someone.
Wow.
And apologized to me. He said, I'm not going to give you my name. He said, I moved to Florida and I just wanted to apologize to you, whether it was me or not, but apologize on behalf of the police department, and hung up the telephone.
That is something. That is something.
And I was sitting there with the phone like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
This is the kind of behavior that I think led to what I believe is still the current standard, if not law, which is that if there's a domestic violence call, somebody has to go to jail. Somebody has to be removed from the scene. That there's no more of this, take a walk around the block.
Oh no, it's different, but it's not that different. Because this is the thing, right? When you call and the police come and arrest you, you can be out the next day and then you go right back, right? So, is it a real big difference? The only difference is the person is getting removed at that moment. But what about the long term?
Sure.
That's the part, right?
Sure.
The long term. And my thing for me, he was a correction officer. Had they arrested him from domestic violence, he would have been fired or at least suspended, and they would have removed his firearm. And then it's a great possibility that this would not have happened.
Right. Well, this is, I mean, there's a lot of people who probably should be calling you or somebody else to apologize, because you spill a lot of tea here about what goes on in the police department and elsewhere, and good for you. I mean, I've been, sort of adjacent to this. My sister was a detective in sex crimes in the Bronx, and then she was a trainer at IAB, and she would tell me sometimes, some of what was in the curriculum. Her job was to basically teach cops all of the things that they could do wrong and how to avoid it. And it was, my head would be spinning. She'd be telling me about the stuff that people would get wrapped up in. And it's, with a lot of power comes a lot of temptation and a lot of opportunities to do.
A lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that with the training, most of the time when the cops go to the training, it's just a day out of the precinct. They're not paying attention to what they being trained.
Right.
Because if they were, a lot of cops wouldn't even be falling victim to a lot of things that's happening. Right. So I think that, and to be real transparent, the police department, like bosses, they treat a lot of the cops get mistreated. So it is a ricochet effect. You treat me bad, then I go out to the world and treat the world bad.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if you treat me good, right, I'll go out and I'll treat the world good. So if we clean it up and learn how to be nice and learn how to treat the officers nice and kind and respectful, right? Then they can go out to the world and treat the world kind, nice, and respectful.
Well, I mean, they're going through, they're living with the same thing we were talking about before in family life, right? Where they were abused for 25 years.
And they normalize it, right? They normalize it. It's cops now are in the comments like attacking me because I'm telling my story. And I'm saying to myself, you're attacking me, but you're not even talking about the fact of what has happened to me.
Right.
And the wrong. But you so gun-ho on this uniform that there's no empathy and compassion for me, and I've been victimized.
Well, it's funny. We're in the middle of a mayoral race, as you know, and I'm covering a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot of debates and discussions that are going on, and at least one of the candidates has talked about reforming the NYPD, making some changes. Nothing super crazy, like taking the strategic response group that's supposed to protect us from terrorists, but they also are supposed to police political demonstrations. And he's saying those two things are a problem because you're treating political demonstrators as if they're terrorists. So let's separate the units. Let's just change this around, change their training a little bit, maybe designate a group just to deal with the terrorists and another group just to deal with. And people are acting like it's going to be the end of the world. And I'm thinking it's like, I don't understand. How do you ever change the culture of the NYPD if there's such a strong reaction to making even small changes to it?
In order for you to be effective, you have to be able to take it out of the root. That's just like when you want to plant, when you want your grass to be well done, and you got to take all the weeds out. You got to take the weeds out, pull them out so they don't grow back. And then when they do grow back, early on, you see it, you catch it, you deal with it. And that's what it should be like.
Yeah, well, that's, I was just in my backyard doing exactly that. God knows. I was thinking, I should have done this earlier because there's a lot of weeds back there. And I mean, there's this cliquishness too. I mean, and I think this goes on for 150 years, and it's not that different from any other corporation, but, who you're with in the NYPD, they can make or break you. They can take you very far, or they can send you off into some godforsaken wasteland from which your career will never recover. You had good luck. You had good mentors.
You talk and talk right there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You either in or you're out.
Yeah.
It ain't no
Well,
gray
what are you hearing these days? Because, I mean, that to me was always the meaning. I saw you gave a shout out to Phil Banks. I know him. My dad knew his dad.
Yeah.
And he figured prominently in the Adams administration. They've had more than their share of scandals and a lot of turbulence in recent days. What do you hear about the job? What do you think's going on there?
Oh, I hear that the cops hate that job. They're not happy, especially with this new police commissioner. They're definitely not happy with her. They feel like she doesn't have the experience to be the police commissioner. And I kind of understand how they feel when it comes to that, because you want leadership to be able to have experienced something that you have experienced, right? To be able to be my leader. So it's like two people being married, but you want to mentor me and you've never been married, right? So that's how the cops are looking at it. Overtime is an issue. I hear that they're not getting a lot of overtime. That's what cops live for. They don't get paid a lot of money. Yeah. They live off of their overtime. Let's tell the truth here. So I think that's a big issue for the police, and they're not being treated well. I think a lot of them are now realizing that they're not being treated well, but they can't speak out because they don't want to be retaliated against. And the retaliation is real.
Wow. That's a tough place to be. And so for a lot of your career, it was Ray Kelly and it was like Bill Bratt and those guys. Right. You didn't have to like them, but you knew that they were cops.
That's right. That's right. They
didn't ask you to do anything they had not personally done themselves.
And the police department, I think, was ran a little bit different too when when they were there.
Okay, very good. So now you have. And for the political journalists, so I know, listen to this podcast, Chapter 31 is the one where she dishes from her days on the protective detail, talking about the mayor. It's pretty brutal. I mean, you talk about a lot of stuff where you praise him as a person, but you said as a leader, he had a lot of shortcomings.
Oh, yeah. I didn't look at him as a leader. I didn't think he was a leader. I don't think he believed he was a leader.
Now, see, some of this, when you talk this way, I hear my father's voice, and it reminds me that cops basically don't like politicians.
No,
because politicians.
It's not that I didn't not. I don't. It's not that I disliked him, because I I didn't have no reason to dislike him. He was kind to me. He never was not kind to me. Saw him be not kind to other people, but when it came to me, he wasn't. He was kind to me. Actually, his wife was not kind to me. She kicked me off her detail, and he actually put me on the detail for me to work for him.
I remember when that happened. That got a little news attention. When
she threw me off.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was awful. But he had taken me on. So...
Well, let me say it differently. Cops and politicians have different definitions of what constitutes good leadership.
Correct.
I would say.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, because with a politician being able to massage something, and make sure everybody's happy in the end is considered a valuable...
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. So, Young Ladies of the Future, this organization that you started, what's it about and how can people support it?
Young Ladies of Our Future, I started it actually when I was in the NYPD, when I was in community affairs. I started it for at-risk young women. Started it in Brownsville, and I mentor young girls. And how people can support it is you can go to the website, youngladiesofourfuture.com, hit the donation button, and that's how you can support it.
Okay. And what are you doing with these young ladies?
I mentor them. I teach them about self-esteem, self-awareness, etiquette, hair and makeup day, or volunteer. I have a charity called the Katrina Brownlee Charity, which I go every year to a shelter in the 7th Precinct. I've been doing it for many years now, and I feed the homeless people on Thanksgiving, and my girls come along, and a lot of volunteers from the community, people, my friends and family come out, and we feed the homeless. I don't get donations for it. I take it out of my own money, and this is what I do. I do it because I was homeless. As you read in the book, I was homeless, and I understand that during the holidays and being homeless is an awful feeling, and I just wanted to be able to give back in that way. And then Christmas time, I go to the supermarket, same supermarket in the 7th Precinct, and I pay for people groceries secretly. I go to the register and I ask them, can I pay for your groceries? Because I know what it feels like to be hungry.
And you must be hearing from some of these young ladies that they are going through almost exactly what you've gone through. What do you say to them? How do you steer them in a different direction? What are you telling them that you wish somebody had told you?
I wish, just loving on them, right? Showing them love, showing them kindness. Because when you can love on someone and just show them some sort of love and some sort of intimacy in that way, they will open up to you, and then you can be able to have conversation with them and talk to them, and they can be able to tell you what's really going on in their lives and have a real conversation with them and building up their self-esteem, just in giving them awareness, because awareness is really real. And that's a lot of what we don't have is awareness. And so that's what I offer them.
Awareness of what? What do you mean by that?
Awareness just of self. Awareness of self. Awareness of self-love. Awareness of what can happen. When you get involved with this type of man or this type of homegirl, like just friends, right? Because friends can bring disruption to your life, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be a guy, right? It can be friends. You can hang out with the wrong crew of people. You can be riding in the car with somebody and they got a gun and somebody get pulled over. Everybody goes, right? And your whole life changes just like that. So I just try to bring them awareness of anything that could possibly be a life-changing decision for them, such as myself. No one told me anything.
Right. There are a lot of people who know some of what you know, but they're not doing what you do. Do we need to recruit them? Do we need more people trying to sort of get involved and reach into communities and find folks?
I think that we definitely need to do that. I think that we need to, government, police department, everybody in leadership in this city, right? All over, in every city, we come together as a community and make these these changes because one set of people can't do it. It has to be a community. It takes a village to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, within the NYPD, again, just because it's the place where you spent the most time, I mean, you talk about how the prestige goes with, the protective detail, the undercover cops, the drug busts, the gun seizures, and so forth. And community affairs is not necessarily considered a path to the top in the same way. Yeah. But you fought to get into it, number one. And it's what you wanted to do.
I wanted to do it. That was one of my dreams, to be undercover in community affairs. And as you will read when people read the book, they'll see what the challenge was, how I could not get into the community affairs, but I was able to get into community affairs. And I wanted to go in there because I wanted to make change. I wanted to bridge a gap between the police department and the community because I understood both sides, right? I was a cop and then I was a civilian. So who better could really bridge that gap but me, because I have the experience on both.
You know who talks that way is the mayor. Has he done an okay job of doing that?
Bridging the gap between
community and the cops, yeah.
I don't think that the cops distrust him. I don't believe that they distrust him. Yeah, I have not heard that. I don't believe that they distrust him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
What's your sense of the community side of that equation?
I think that they believed in him at first. I think that he has to rebuild the trust in the community. I think if he did that, he would be okay. But he got some work to do.
Okay.
Yeah, he got some work to do.
Okay, he may reach out to you, these are the closing weeks of a campaign, and he very much wants votes out of the communities that you know best and where you've been doing this great work. Listen, thanks so much for coming by. I really enjoyed the book. I highly, highly recommend it, folks. You gotta check this out. If you want to see what life is like out in these neighborhoods that we're always reporting on, if you want to see what's going on inside the NYPD, at least the dynamics within that department, there's a lot here for you. And I say that as somebody who's been trying to cover this for decades. Fantastic job. Thanks a whole lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you want to keep up with what's happening in New York politics and hear more conversations with the people shaping the future of New York and beyond, subscribe to our channel. And let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, elections, and issues that matter to you.